So this is a request from the students in my toe-up sock class. They want a little refresher on Judy's Magic Cast-On, and here's how you do it. You're going to take your needles, whether they be circular or double points, these are circular, and you're going to hold them together, the points together, one on top of the other, like that. Your yarn you're going to bend at a point where you have a tail that you can use to create some of the stitches. And in here we're not going to do a whole lot of stitches, so we have a fairly short tail. And we're going to take that little loop that was created and we're going to lay it over the top needle like that. And we're going to make sure that the tail is coming from the back side of the needle, right there. And I have my finger here to kind of steady everything. And just like in a long tail cast on, you're going to take your yarns and put your fingers through there. Grab them with your pinky and your ring finger to steady them. And we've created a stitch on the top needle already. This is going to be our first stitch. And we have to remember that the thumb is holding the yarn that creates stitches on the top needle. Your index finger holds the yarn that creates stitches on the bottom needle. So to remember that, I always tell people to think about thumb starts with a T, top starts with a T. That way, if you stop in the middle of it and you're sort of confused as to where to go, that's the way to remember. So we now have to create a stitch on the bottom needle because we're alternating between the two. And in order to do that, you're going to turn your hand so that you're looking at the back of your hand basically. And the yarn on your index finger is going to roll over the bottom needle and go in between the two needles to create the second stitch. So there was one on top, one on bottom. Now we're going to go back to the top, and in order to do that, you're going to turn your hand so that you're looking at the palm of your hand, not the back. And you're going to take the yarn on your thumb, put it between the two needles and over top the needle. Now we're going to do the bottom again. We're going to turn to look at the back of your hand, and take the yarn, roll it over the bottom needle and in between the two. So now we have the identical number of stitches on top and bottom. We're going to go back to the top, look at our palm, go in between and over. We're going to look at the back of your hand, go over and in between. So palm of your hand, in between and over, back of your hand, over, in between. And you'll continue doing this until you have the number of stitches that are required by your pattern. In this case, I'm going to do 6 and 6. So we have the same amount of stitches on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, 6. So we have 12 stitches total. And in order to start knitting, using magic loop in this case, you're going to have to turn these needles over and look at them sort of horizontally, if you will. You're going to see that little chain that was created by twisting your hand, looking at the palm, looking at the back of your hand. That needs to be facing up when you start knitting using the circular method. And what we're going to do to sort of stabilize these and join them, because this is sort of a loose yarn here, so you don't want to lose some of your stitches, we're going to take an extra needle and take the back stitch here, just lift it off the tip and put it onto the top, the front needle, the one that's closest to you. You can pull that to tighten it up a little bit. And then you're going to take the second stitch in, lift it over that stitch, which I'm trying to stay in frame to do this, guys, and put it on the back needle. And it doesn't matter which way you get it on, as long as you get it on. And now your stitches are connected so that you can begin knitting. This is your tail, so you're not gonna knit with that. You're gonna knit with this yarn, and you're gonna pull out the back needle and begin knitting into the front.